Hello, welcome to Community Connection. I'm your host, Gloria Enloe. The goal of this program is to let people in Jefferson City know what's happening in their community. We have a lot going on all the time, festivals, concerts, book readings, movie screenings, lots of things that people can go to, and sometimes you just need to know where to look. One of those places you can look is the Missouri River Regional Library. They have a great staff that always throws great events, and one of the things that's coming up that we want to talk to our audience about is Capital Read. So with us today we have Claudia from the Missouri River Regional Library and Alex George, and you're going to learn a little bit more about him in just a moment. But Claudia, for people who might not be familiar with Capital Read, can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Yes, we started this program 7 years ago, and a librarian by the name of Nancy Pearl began this program back in the 90s, where a community picks one book and comes around that book, and we promote it and talk about it, and book clubs are reading it. And so we decided back in 2003 to start this ourselves, and it's been really successful, and we've had a lot of fun with it.
How do you go about deciding which book you're going to select for your Capital Read book?
It's tough because there are lots of good books out there, and gosh, I've struggled over the years, but it seems like everything always works out in the end, and I find the perfect person for our community and the book, and it happened again this year. At the end of January, I was reading Book Page. We give these out in the library every month, and I usually read it cover to cover and make sure we have most of the books that are advertised in here. And so I picked it up, and there was a large article about Alex George and this new book, A Good American. I find out that it's set in Missouri, and at the end of the article, I find out that Alex George lives in Columbia, Missouri. Now, the book hasn't come out yet. It's the end of January. It's coming out on February 7th. So on February 7th, I run down to Downtown Book and Toy. I get the book. I start reading it. I read it in a short amount of time, and then I ask Alex in March if he will be our Capital Read author. It just landed in my lap. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't. And so it's like manna, from heaven, right in my lap. It's a perfect fit for our community because so many people in this area have German ancestors, and this is what this book is about: coming to Missouri from Germany, and everything everything that means. And we're actually having a program at the library where people are sharing their stories of their ancestors and how they got here. And so I just thought couldn't be better for us.
Well, Alex, welcome to Jefferson City and to JCTV.
Thank you.
If you could tell us a little bit, Claudia mentioned briefly what the book's about, but tell us a little bit more about A Good American.
Sure. Well, the story starts in 1904, and it tells the story of a young couple from Hanover in Germany who leave Germany and they come to the States in something of a hurry. It's a bit of an emergency. And it really just tells the story of their arrival in America, and they find their way more by accident than by design to a small town in mid-Missouri called Beatrice. And the story then just goes on from there, and it tells the sort of 3 generations of that family. And what I was really trying to do was it spans all of the 20th century from 1904 to the present day. And I was trying to hold up a mirror to America as a whole, but looked at through the prism of this one family.
Well, that sounds wonderful. You mentioned that the novel is set in Beatrice, Missouri, but we're not going to find that on any map.
You won't find it on any map, no. It's a place that I created in my head, although when I was writing it, I had various small towns in Missouri in my mind when I was writing particular scenes.
But something that people from the area are going to be familiar with, because you do mention Jefferson City and some other places.
Jefferson City's mentioned, St. Louis features, and Columbia, and Rocheport as well. They all get a mention.
Well, I understand you live in Columbia. Can you tell us a little bit about how you arrived there and your background? I know that this is obviously, you're a novelist, but you have some other interests as well.
I do. I'm an attorney by day, and a writer. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning to write, and I write from 5 to 7. Then wake up my children, take them to school, then go and do my real job. So I'd say that's what I do. And I came here in 2003 because my ex-wife is from California, Missouri.
Okay.
And so I'm here now and enjoying it hugely. And clearly, you can tell from my accent that I'm English and not from here. And so that was the reason why I decided to write this book. They always say that writers are always told to write what you know, which is excellent advice. But as long as you actually have something that's something that's worth writing about. And it occurred to me when I began this book in 2005 that what I had done in moving my life and my family and everything 4,000 miles to a country that I didn't know would qualify as something that was worth writing about. So I began thinking about the immigrant experience as a topic for the book. And one of the fascinating things that's happened since the book was published is that I've received an awful lot of correspondence from people who have told me their stories. And because this book has struck a chord, because everybody in America came here from somewhere else. Right. And so there's a universal theme there. And it's been wonderful to read these stories, and the sorts of stories that will be shared will be part of that. And it's been, and any one of these stories, they're all inspiring, and they just have the additional benefit of actually being true, whereas I just happen to make mine up. Right. But the theme of immigration has been one that people have responded to, and it's been it's been great fun.
If this, the story starts in 1904, a lot of history there. What type of research has to go into a project of this size?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot of research. I read a lot of books, some of which were more interesting than others. But it's very important that when you're telling a story like this, you get your facts right, clearly. And all I was trying to do was to lay one strand of a narrative over the tapestry of the 20th century. So I needed to make sure that everything fitted in properly, which was a challenge sometimes, and sometimes with dates. And I wanted to do things, and I found I just simply couldn't because the math wasn't going to work. Mm-hmm. But no, I read a lot of books. I spent a lot of time at the Missouri Historical Society on campus in Columbia, looking at old passenger manifests and things like that. And yes, lots and lots of textbooks, and I read a lot about corn yields in the 1930s and things like that, which maybe not the most interesting always, but it's important to have all of that background. But the trick I always say is to wear your research lightly. So even though I've read about that, the trick is not to sort of bore your reader with it. So hopefully people will find some interesting historical things in here, but it's really about the story.
Oh, great. Well, we're hoping everyone has a chance to read this before the event that you're going to be doing at the Missouri River Regional Library. But if people are wanting to find out more about the book or about you, is there any way they can find that information? Sure,
I have a website, as everyone does now. It's alexgeorgebooks.com, and there's links there to Facebook and Twitter and all of those good things.
Well, Claudia, if we could come back to it a little bit, talking about the event that's going to be happening November 1st, can you tell us some of the specifics?
Yes, on November 1st, Alex will be gracing us again with his presence. This is the second time you've been to Jefferson City. Well, it'll be the third time recently, but he'll be beginning a talk at 7 o'clock, and that'll probably go on for about 45 minutes or so, and there'll be questions and answers, and then we'll have Downtown Book and Toy at this event, and there'll be books to buy if people haven't already bought one. And Alex will sign them, and we'll have a reception and a great time that evening.
In the past, you've been doing this since 2003, Capitol Read. How has the response been from the community? Is this something that they enjoy doing and kind of having something common to bond over?
Yes, actually, I made a mistake. We started talking about it in 2003, and then implemented in 2006. We went back and forth for a long time, and I realized that a moment ago I'd made an error with my numbers.
We can fix errors.
But, exactly. But it did take a while to get off the ground and get going. People love it. They really do, and they ask me. They're already asking me what's next year's Capitol Read. What are you thinking about? And we've tried the voting process where We have people vote online on our website or at the local bookstores. And that worked out all right, but sometimes the book that's chosen, I contact the author and they can't come. It won't work out in any way, shape, or form. And so that's one of the biggest challenges. Sometimes it's cost. I contacted someone last year and they said, I'd love to come for $12,000 and I need a personal driver.
Right.
That really happened. True story. And so that's not in our budget.
Right.
So there are all kinds of factors involved in this. And I've been really fortunate. Everyone I've worked with since 2006 has been terrific and very generous. And I think the community responds well to it, and I often get thank you notes afterwards, thanking me for the events, and I always try to do some things leading up to the actual author presentation. And like I said, I get recommendations all year long. I get people asking me because I work on the reference desk, and I get suggestions, and yeah, all that. So.
Historically, in recent history, do you try to pick books that have a connection to Missouri, or does it kind of just run the gamut?
I don't always try to pick book. It just doesn't work out that way. So this is really only the second one. A few years ago, we had a book called Absolute Gentleman, and that book was set in Missouri near Warrensburg, and it's about a serial killer. But other than that, we've had no other Missouri connections.
Right. Well, it is somewhat rare to find our towns mentioned in books, so we got lucky this year.
Yes, it's not always easy. No, I really feel like we've been very fortunate this time.
Okay.
And we've had a wonderful response to this book from our community, and I'm looking forward to a big crowd on November 1st.
All right. Well, Claudia, thank you so much for coming by, and Alex, thank you for making the drive down from Columbia as well.
Thank you. It's fun.
We'd like to thank our viewers at home for watching JCTV. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking to you about some other November events that you can participate in. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me back. Hey, did you tell your parents about us? Let's skip first period together. Did you get all my texts? Is practice over yet? Where are you at? Are you with your friends? That's L-A-A-A-A-M-M-E-E-E. Capital X, lowercase o, capital X, lowercase o.
I love you. JK. I hate you. JK.
Are you ignoring me?
We're in a huge fight right now.
Is this something I did?
I can see your lights on. I'm coming over.
Isn't a
What'd you
joke.
dream about? Me? I'm lonely. Holla back. Holla back. Let's try something new. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Hello, welcome to Community Connection. I'm your host, Gloria Enloe. The goal of Community Connection is to let people in Jefferson City know what's happening in their community. Sometimes I hear people say that there's nothing ever going on in Jefferson City. Well, the city actually has a lot to offer. There's festivals, concerts, plays, lots of different things you can attend. During the first part of the show, we talked with someone at the Missouri River Regional Library about an author event for Capital Read, which is something that kind of brings the whole community together. But for this part of the show, we're going to talk about one of my favorite activities, and that is shopping. It's getting a little bit cooler out. The holidays are just around the corner, and whether you're like me and you love to shop, or you're someone that just can't stand going out and buying things, it seems like it's something just about everyone has to do this time of year. So we're going to talk about the Jefferson City Holiday Shopping Expo, and with us today is Prity Vanmali. Prity, thank you for coming to JCTV.
Thank you for having me, Gloria.
Well, I think this is the first time we've talked about this event on JCTV. So for our viewers, can you explain to us what the Holiday Shopping Expo is?
Absolutely. It is an event that brings together shoppers with merchants who are offering unique products and services that aren't readily available in retail locations.
And how did the idea to have an expo like this come about?
Well, it came about a few years ago when we began working with women artisans in India on a jewelry and accessory line, kind of a fair trade idea, and it's called Savita's Sister. So with that, we started traveling all over to small towns, to big cities, doing these different shows. But what we noticed that first year in doing them was that we couldn't find a centralized public show in Jefferson City that was around the holiday time, and this being the capital of Missouri, we saw a real need for that.
And how long has this been going on?
This is the third year for the event, and it's always held on the first Saturday of November.
And what kind of turnout have you had in the past?
Our turnout has been great. We've had right around 400 people every year.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you said that you have merchants that kind of offer something a little bit unique. Can you tell us about some of these merchants?
Sure can. First of all, I guess I should first say that what we try to do to create a quality experience for the shoppers is that we actually limit the number of merchants per category, and then we also only allow one per direct sell company, so that as shoppers come in, not everything is the same product or service.
Right.
And what this does is it creates a really good mix of handcraft merchandise such as furniture, jewelry, blankets, candles, all the way to the manufactured products that are sold through home-based businesses such as American Girl doll clothing, Scentsy, 31 Purses, Mary Kay. There's a complete list of our merchants available on our website, which is jcholiday.expo.webs.com.
Well, just some of the names that you threw out there and mentioned sounds like these are products that everybody knows and everyone's heard about, so that's good. The demographic you're targeting for shoppers, is it more stuff that women can buy for other women, or are there products available for men, or do you try to kind of have something for everyone on everyone's shopping list?
We try to have something for everyone on everyone's shopping list, from general products, if you know somebody really likes a certain brand, all the way down to if somebody collects certain collectibles, and there might be somebody there that has handcrafted products in those more niche areas. So we try to cover as much ground as we can with that, and to make it more of an event to where you can really get all or most of your holiday shopping done in one place.
Yeah. Well, and that's nice too, to have a centralized location too, and you don't have to deal with the crowds at the mall or go from store to store or fight traffic. Have you gotten feedback like that from some of the shoppers that have attended?
Yes, we've gotten feedback both years about the shoppers have been really pleased with the atmosphere of the venue, as well as the quality of merchandise that we have there, and the variety of merchandise that we have there, and just like you said, not having to go to 10 different places and walk through snowy parking lots 5 times a day to get everybody crossed off on the list.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like too, like some of the products you're offering, it's not something you're going to be able to find at your average shopping mall or strip mall either, though.
Yes, yes. And that's something we really enjoy about the show, is that it does really bring in some unique items that you just maybe otherwise would completely miss, and it might really be the perfect holiday gift for someone on your list, or maybe even yourself.
Right. And that can be true too, because you do usually have at least one person on the list that seems to have everything, or is just really hard to find for, and you can find something that you probably wouldn't have found anywhere else.
Yes.
Yeah. Typically, how many merchants do you have at the expo?
We sell out of vendor spaces every year, and depending on how the booths are configured and the needs of the vendors, we usually are able to accommodate anywhere between 30 to 40 merchants.
Are most of these merchants local businesses, kind of small business owners in the Jefferson City area, or do you have people that travel in for this?
It's a mix of both. We definitely have Jefferson City businesses represented, but then we also have merchants coming in from all over the state, bringing products that otherwise we may not be able to find here locally in Jefferson City.
And I understand that if you come in, even if you're not ready to shop, you could walk away with something, because you guys are going to have some other things going on too.
That's right. It's You can come in and buy as little or nothing or as much as you want, but regardless of what you do or don't buy, we are giving away free door prizes throughout the entire day.
Now this is going to be at Donita's. I know a lot of people are familiar with that. What do you think of that venue?
I think it's great. They have been really easy to work with every year. I can always count on them to do a good job, and the location itself is ideal, being located right off the highway.
Talking a little bit about the vendors again, you kind of gave us an idea of the type of things that'll be available, and obviously you sell out every year, so that seems to be a pretty good indication. But what do your vendors say to you about the event? Do they enjoy it?
The feedback I've gotten has been great. The two main things I've heard the most are that they really like how well organized the event is, as well as how well publicized it is. And that seems to bring a lot of vendors back and help spread the word to bring new vendors in. And it also says a lot when shoppers return and they know that they're going to be able to find some of the same vendors there. That tells me it's a good combination for both vendors and shoppers.
Now, I understand you sell out of booth space every year, and this year is no exception, but if someone is interested in maybe next year or just learning more about it, where can they go to get that kind of information?
They can go to the event website, which is jchollidayexpo.webs.com, and that has all of the contact information on there. And if there are vendors interested for this year, we are sold out, but we do have a waiting list in case of cancellations, so people can still feel free to contact me.
Right. Now this event is always held the first part of November, so you have a little bit of time between then and the Christmas season. If people are wanting to maybe buy some kind of Christmas themed decorations or novelties or cards or stuff that they need, before the holiday actually hits, is that type of stuff available there? Absolutely.
We're going to have several vendors there selling different home goods and holiday ornaments, things like that. And the most recognizable name would probably be Celebrating Home, but then there will also be handcraft businesses there with different items that are perfect for the holidays.
Right. Well, real quickly for our viewers, can you tell us when and where the event is going to be?
Sure. It's going to be on Saturday, November 3rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it is at Donita's Banquet Center, which is, the address is 5007 Buffalo Road, but it's located just off of Highway 54.
Okay. And any admission price to get in the door?
It's absolutely free.
Well, that's great, because then you can go and you can spend money if you want to, but if you just want to kind of browse around and see what they have to offer, that you can do that too.
Absolutely.
Right. I really appreciate you coming in to talk about this today. Holiday shopping, it seems like it gets closer and closer every year that we're doing it, and getting ready early is never a bad idea. As far as when people should show up, the event is from 9 to 3. Is there a need to get there early, or are you kind of going to be going full steam all day?
We'll be going full steam all day, so anytime anyone can drop by, they're welcome. Again, 9 to 3, vendors will be there and happy to talk about their products and offer what they have. And if they have sold out of something, I know a lot of vendors will take back orders, so people can come on out as they're ready.
All right. Well, Prity, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you, Gloria.
All right. And we would also like to thank our viewers at home for watching JCTV. Make sure you're watching JCTV regularly, especially as we get closer to the holidays, because we always have great programming to offer you, from the JC's Christmas Parade to the Jefferson City High School's Capital Caroling event, and that this year will be no exception. Thank you so much for watching. Don't go anywhere. We have more great JCTV programming coming your way.